systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great week. I'm ready to talk some fights with my man, Big Marley. Thursday night, you can see if Big Marley's looking up. A little football on the screen. Buffalo Bills, Houston Texans action. We are talking UFC Fight Night. Qatar, 10 a.m. Eastern. So set those alarms on Saturday morning. If you sleep that late, East Coast or West Coast over here, 8 Eastern in the morning. Early violence. You love to see that. 14 fights. Also good for DFS. Pretty solid main event. A big favorite in Arman Tsarukyan. Plenty of other pretty big favorites on this card, but we did have one cancellation, or at least a rebooking. It was supposed to be Gaziev Spivac. Now we have Waldo Gaziev. I'm expecting this to be an $8,300 Waldo due to him being a favorite, as you can see right here. But we'll get into that. Like usual, Big Marley, how we doing today?
Good. Yeah, I thought Josh Allen just got really hurt, but he walked off, so hopefully it's okay. But yeah, that would have sucked if he went down for the rest of the season. But I'm excited about this card. I think it's a good DFS card. Lots of fights that could be high scoring. Lots of fights I like, and I feel like we've been on a run where it's been hard to find underdogs that we like. And on this card, I think there's a bunch of them I'm fine with. So I have the money to pay up for some of the top guys that I want, and I think I can make some lineups that look pretty decent on paper and hopefully still keep me a little different if I go like 3 or 4 underdogs.
Yeah, most definitely can. And with 14 fights, I mean, just that alone, more combinations, more spread out ownership on average. I do expect that right now. Let me just take a quick glance at a preliminary ownership. No fighter we have projected over 50%. Our highest owned, Arman Tsarukyan, 49%. Wouldn't be surprised if it ticked over 50 there. But even if it was just one fighter, that's pretty good with everyone else below 50%. So I could see a 5-10 dupe or less. I think it's a very live card for that. Solo shipper would not surprise me either. What's up, Hezo? I don't know what's going on. Hezo? Oh, what am I talking? I know that's my man YSN. Hezo. I know it has to be Hezo. Good to see you. Are you a Hooper YSN? You let me know. StreamYard's got some weird stuff going. I don't know why it's showing everyone's ad symbol, but like button, subscribe button, all we ask for on this card. Any broad slate overview, Big Marley, before we go fight by fight?
Not really, man. I have what do I have? I have a 1-2 star, a couple threes. I could go in between some 3s and 4s, but I think it's just going to be a tough card based on there's lots of ways you can go, and that's also good for ownership. Yeah, less dupes like you mentioned. And there's lots of people that I would be fine putting in my lineup and then getting different and going down to people that are cheaper than them as well. So tons of ways to go on this card. I'm hoping we're kind of on the same page on a lot of these fights, but we'll see as we go.
Yeah, so far, just a quick glance at the fight rankings. I think we definitely are to kick it off in the first fight of the night. Yeah, Jamal, I don't know what's going on there. Hezo, love it. I expected that with that name, that you were a Hooper at some point. First fight of the night, though, you have 5-star. I'm putting a 5-star right away. One of my favorite fights to target on the card, Denzel Freeman, -205. Mark Bujlo, +175. -600 for this fight to finish. Second most likely on the card. Freeman, -135 inside the distance. Bujlo, +185. And Freeman in round 1, +225. I mean, 2 guys making their UFC debut. A lot of unknowns. 6-0 Bujlo, all of them in the first round. Were his finishes. He's fought absolutely nobody, so no one knows what to expect. A lot of variance in this fight to start it off. Freeman, 6-1, has fought much better competition, though. On a fight that I really have no clue about, a very high variance fight, I rarely fade line movement this big. Freeman opened a dog at +160. Now he finds himself as a -205 favorite. I just really won't fade that line movement much when I don't really know much of the fighters, when we haven't seen them in the UFC. I will trust that sharp money was behind that for some reason. And yeah, I mean, Bujlo's fought no one, so that's enough for me as well. I'll still play a little at 7,600. I think Freeman is one of the best plays on the slate. I do expect him to get ownership for his price, though, and that makes Bujlo an even better play because of leverage. So long story short, I want to fire up this fight in every which way, and not every which way. I don't want to stack it, but I want to be overweight both guys ideally, and I would love that.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go pretty all in on this fight. Not going to make it a rule, but this is my favorite fight for DFS on the card just because of all the unknowns. I mean, another unknown is like, why are these guys even making their UFC debuts? Like, there's no real reason to have either one of these guys in the UFC. So I'm thinking if the UFC does have a reason on one of these guys, I think it's on the Bujlo side. I think he is the one that has the potential to be more impressive, just more talented. He has more ways to win with his submission abilities, but he's never been past 2 minutes in a fight. He's never faced a real fighter. So there are just a lot of unknowns on him, and I don't really trust him at all. I'm picking him to win by first round submission, but I put a 3-star on him and a 3-star on Freeman because I don't feel good about that. And if I end up with more exposure to Freeman, I'm completely fine with that. But the way I see it is if this fight does end in the first minute or 2 minutes, I think Bujlo wins. And then after the first 3 minutes, I think it starts to take over on the Freeman side. And Freeman could wrestle if he wants to, or he could keep it on the feet. And I think we're getting a finish either way, a knockout from Freeman or a submission from Bujlo. My issue would be that if Bujlo wins the first round, it gets out of the first round. Freeman like strikes in the second round, finishes him in the third, then we're screwed. But I just don't think that's even going to happen. I think this fight ends in the first round, and we're just going to get a big boy score from whoever it is. My plan is to be higher on the underdog, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, fight ends in round one, like plus 110 at some books, plus 100 at another, under 1.5, minus 130 to minus 150 range across books. Even if it ends in the second round, like these guys are priced 86, 76. So Freeman scores 95. By no means is it guaranteed to be optimal, but we're not talking like a $9,400, 95 point. We're talking 8,600. So just a great, great fight. I'm curious on ownership. Like it has to be owned, especially the Freeman side. I think Bujlo might be a little lower owned, but the mid-tier is pretty strong. This Topuria fight, minus 200 to finish, people will be interested. Naurdiev fight, 8,500, minus 155 for this fight to finish. So there is some in the mid-tier that people will go to. Regardless, though, this fight's going to be owned. Freeman, I think, will be one of the more popular plays. I think it's good chalk. I will get leverage, though. That's why I play portfolio lineups. I think Bujlo, one of the best dogs when you are not clicking Freeman. Next fight on the card, definitely going to butcher the name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Saigad Izagakhmaev taking on Nicholas Dalby. Saigad minus 315. Saigad, there we go. Saigad minus 315. Dalby plus 265. Minus 110 for this fight to finish. Saigad plus 125 inside the distance. Dalby plus 650. Take it away. What do you see in this one?
More unknowns with this. Izagakhmaev. He hasn't fought in 3 years, so I just don't trust what we're going to get from him. But I do expect him to have a big wrestling edge in this fight. I don't know if he has 3 rounds of wrestling cardio type of wrestling edge in him, but for him to look like a minus 300 favorite, I would hope that he does. Dalby's going to want to come out here and be a pure striker, and I don't see it as Izagakhmaev giving him that type of fight. I do think he takes at least the first round, maybe the second as well. If he drops a round, I would think it's the third, and maybe that makes him not win in DFS because of him dropping a third round. I don't know, but I do expect him to wrestle quite a bit. He could get a finish, but Dalby's tough to finish. So I'm picking this Izagakhmaev to win 2 or 3 rounds via wrestling, probably 2 to 5 takedowns in the fight, and put up a decent score. But I'd rather pay up for Arman, and if I have the money, I'd rather pay up for Yakhyaev as well, just because I trust them a little bit more. On the Dalby side, not somebody I'm really looking to target at all. I'm really not trying to click him with my hand builds. But if I'm MMEing, I'm not going to X him out. I'm fine with him in the pool. Just not somebody I'm really trying to get overweight on.
That makes sense. I have similar takes. Like at first I didn't want to have much exposure to Saigad because Dalby's tough. Like he's only been finished once, which is his last fight by knockout. He's a grinder. So 9,300 decision with Arman 200 more and that Yakhyaev guy 500 more, who I think are almost like 100 plus lock set in stone, it's tougher with Saigid. But yeah, I mean, like, why wouldn't he wrestle from the get-go? Dalby's 58% takedown defense. He's a big favorite. The line has continued to move his way a little bit. His inside the distance prop has also went the right way. If you're going to play him plus 130 to plus 125, someone that's going to wrestle from the jump, or you expect him to. So that means 15 minutes in a decision. If it's dominant, he could get there. And then plus 125 inside the distance is good too. His ownership has to be in check because of his price. Yeah, I kept coming back to I have to get probably at least around the field on Saigid. And then Dalby, spoiler alert, I really like Arben Tsarukyan. I will hardly play any. If literally might play 0 Dan Hooker, and I'm going to play 0 Cerqueira. So if I'm doing that, the next lowest priced guy in the card is Nicholas Dalby. Now, I like a lot of the fighters, like a couple hundred more than them, or like right around it. But if he's the lowest price guy that I have interest in, he always will fight for your dollar. If this other dude just gasses or he's a fraud, Dalby, we've seen it against Bomb Theme. So I'm going to play a little Dalby. I've been hurt by him in the past. He'll fight for my dollar. I don't need much. He'll already be low owned. So, yeah, I'm going to have this. I think this fight's going to be really low owned. Probably one like top 3 lowest owned on the card or something like that. And I can see a path on both sides. So, yeah, I'm going to be playing it for sure. What's up, G Pfeiffer? Good to see you. We will keep it rolling. Next fight on the card, another wrestler, Nurio Aliev minus 280, Shamrock plus 240, plus 125 for this fight to finish. Aliev plus 265 inside the distance, Rock plus 315. Another guy making the UFC debut in Rock. Yeah, what do you see him as a prospect? What do you think of Aliev? 4 stars in this one, which is pretty good.
Yeah, 4 stars for a plus 125.
Now plus 135, so it's gone the wrong way.
Yeah, just because I think almost this entire fight's going to take place on the ground. Shamrock, I thought he did look pretty good. He is aggressive with his wrestling and his submission grappling. He's going to go out there early, try and get takedowns fast, and he's relentless with them in the first round too, and he's going to be hunting for the neck. The issue with him is that he does spend a lot of his energy in the first round, and if he doesn't get the finish there, I have a hard time seeing him get it in the second or the third round. And that's when I think Aliev will just start to take over with his wrestling. I see him just being the better all-around fighter. If this is a striking match, it's not going to be a good fight. It's not going to put up a big score. We need this to take place on the ground. And Aliev's not really a relentless wrestler, but he is a good wrestler. He's good with his control time. And Shamrock's aggressiveness and wanting to get the fight to the ground, I think will almost work in reverse for Aliev to be racking up that control time. And the takedowns will come easy, I think, for Aliev after that first round. So I like both sides of this fight. I don't even have a preference on which one I ended up with leverage on, but I think I like enough underdogs on this card where it'll put me on more Aliev than it will Rock.
That makes sense. I have both guys listed as overweight in my breakdown. I said it's more like even with the field plays. There's another fight on this card that I'm the same, where I really don't have the strongest lean. The overs continue to take money. Aliev, a clear wrestler, just like we talked about with Saigid last fight. So a guy that can wrestle all fight I have interest in, but his 2 UFC wins have scored 91 and 78. He gets 2 or 3 takedowns. He spends 9 or 11 minutes on control, but it's only 1 takedown per round, and then he doesn't do enough damage. And at 9,200, you need a big score. Now, there is variance in fight to fight. I mean, if you're telling me the guy's going to control with 11 minutes on the ground, 12 minutes, I don't want none of him. Sometimes he will score 109 in those situations. He might do more damage, reversals. The other guy might get up more. So there is volatility in that number. So I'll play some at 9,200 just as a guy that could get 5 takedowns or spend 14 minutes on top. And Rock, he's fine off of his back. He'll be throwing up submissions. If he does get a reversal, if he somehow is the better wrestler, grappler, at 7K, again, kind of like I said with Dalby, I prefer Rock to Dalby. And I definitely prefer him to Cerqueira and Hooker, who I'm not playing. So, yeah, definitely a dog I'll mix in. And his finishing, he has upside in wins. He's plus 240 money line. He's plus 315 inside the distance. So majority of his wins should be finishes. And if he finishes, obviously he's optimal at 7K. So, Yeah, another good fight to target. When I say it like that in my last sentence, I think Rock probably my preferred play because of the price, but I'll have some Aliev as well. Anything to add in that one? Otherwise, we'll keep it rolling.
No, I would say my worry is that Rock takes Aliev's back for the first round, and he just hangs onto his back, and then that's really going to kill the fight right there. If Aliev drops the first round and then wins the second two with wrestling, I don't think that's going to be enough.
Yeah, no, that would almost for sure not be enough. At that point, you're cheering for Rock, assuming that you have some in your portfolio. What's up, Abrasive? Good to see you. Great day over here. Hope the same for you. Again, like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. Also, it's always a great day when you get to join Shipping Nation for as low as $19, as you see above. 5 days for $19 using the code SHIP19. No better time to get in. NFL is going on this week. College football, NBA. The PGA Showdown is going on as well. Of course, MMA and NHL. Best time of the year. A lot of big prizes out there. We would love to have you. Again, as low as $19. You can get over to the nation for 5 days using the code SHIP19. Next fight on the card, mid-tier fights. 8,500, 7,700. Ismail Naurdiev, minus 140. Ryan Loder, plus 120. Minus 155 for this fight to finish. Naurdiev plus 140 inside the distance. Loder plus 285. Checks all the boxes for me. Solid pricing on both sides. Minus 155 to finish. Good inside the distance props on both sides. Both average a takedown and a half per 15. Yeah, I mean, what's there not to like about this fight's my question.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's a kind of a binary fight where Loder has to wrestle in this fight, and he's a pretty decent wrestler. I think he could dominate the first round, maybe even get a submission and look like he should have been a minus 500 favorite. The second round, I think he could wrestle as well. I mean, I don't know if he's really that much of a gasser. I didn't spend that much time watching him, but the pace of a wrestler like him, I would just expect to slow down. But Naurdiev used to be a pure striker, got like kicked out of the UFC, like, hey, go learn how to wrestle, kid. And I think he has done pretty decent in his improvement. But Loder's going to have nothing for Naurdiev on the feet. So if the takedowns aren't there, I think Naurdiev just knocks him out in whatever round. So I'm going to be heavy on both sides. I'm picking Naurdiev by knockout. But, man, I don't want to be underweight on Loder. Loder could definitely put up 110 and just ruin your night really fast out of the gate. So I kind of just want to try and get leverage on both sides of this fight. Picking Naurdiev, but again, if I end up with more exposure or more leverage on the Loder side, I'd be fine with it. I do expect a lot of steam to come in on Loder, though, based on the line movement. And Naurdiev could go like a bit overlooked on this card.
I think that's a good shout. Yeah, 7,700 plus 120. Money line checks out. The wrestling, the inside the distance. I think you are probably right when it comes to that. Like in this range, the Freeman will be a lot higher owned than Bujlo, and Loder will be a lot higher owned than Naurdiev. So when you got to get difference, like if you play Bujlo over Loder and Naurdiev over Freeman, you are definitely getting different that way. And I could see both. Like I could see Naurdiev outscoring Freeman in a win. It's like both of them, I think, score when they do win, but I could see that. And Bujlo for sure. They both have a lot of upside. I think two of the highest upside dogs on the card are Loder and Bujlo right there. So, yeah, just interesting note. I think that's a good point. Loder could probably pick up steam. Naurdiev will stay a leverage play. I like this fight a lot. I'm going to be played a lot. Can leave money easier with Loder. You can also leave money high 8K, drop down to Naurdiev at 8,500. You are not giving up much upside. I do want you to compare it to this next fight right in the mid-tier, closest price fight, the same exact line of that last one, Alexandre Topuria, minus 140. Bekset Almakhan, plus 120, minus 190 for this fight to finish. Both Almakhan and Topuria plus 175 inside the distance. So I see you have it a 4-star on both the last fight and this fight. 2 fights in the mid-tier, both expected to finish. Which one do you prefer? And then how do you see this one going?
I definitely prefer the other fight more. I might move this one to a 3-star, actually. I put it as a 4-star because you now get Topuria priced as an underdog, but he is a favorite. So if you like him, I think he's a fine play. But I'm going to be more so on the Bekset side of this one. I think he is, I don't know about more dangerous. Topuria fights like his brother. He just cocks back that big what is it, a big left, big right? I think he might be southpaw, and he's trying to get the knockout with that one big shot. He can also mix in some wrestling too, but he's not going to be relentless with his wrestling pace, and he's not a really high-paced striker either. So you need the knockout from Topuria, where I think you can get a little bit more from Bekzat. I think he can be more active than Topuria. And in my opinion, he should be the slight favorite in this fight. I'm a bit more impressed with him overall, and I think you're paying for the name Topuria based on him being the favorite in this one. I really think that there's a percentage of his betting value just based on his name alone. So my plan on this one is to let the field take that line movement and keep Topuria's ownership high. And now that's going to make Bekzat go overlooked. I think he could get a first-round knockout, break the slate. But I also think at 8,200, he could be fine in a decision. I don't know if he's going to be a lock for the optimal. I don't expect him to wrestle much, but this could be a pretty fun fight, and I think he could bring an okay pace on the feet. Doesn't look like it with his striking, with his .68, but that's not telling the full story because he was laying on his back facing Umar. But I just think this is a pretty decent fight, and the line movements, in my opinion, going the wrong way.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that too. Like, I always struggle when, like, I know that the numbers don't tell the whole story, but I also don't want, like, people to think it's a debuter. But he's had 2 fights in the UFC. One of them was against Umar, where he landed 3 significant strikes in his debut. He did get a knockdown in that fight. After that, it was all Umar, 5 takedowns, 11.5 minutes of control time. No shame in that. I mean, he went 15 minutes with Umar. That in itself is impressive. And then the Brad Katona, who's a good fighter, he knocked him out in 1 minute and 4 seconds, just straight binked him right there. So it's really hard to, like, the significant strikes per minute, takedowns, whatever. That number does not mean anything right now. I'm with you, though, for the sense of, like, just this is a game theory fight for me. I think Topuria is going to take steam because he's now the favorite as a cheaper fighter and has the name. If you spend 200 more, yeah, you get a slight dog. The same inside the distance prop, though. I think it should be probably more of a pick 'em. On Tuesday, we actually had him as a slight favorite, Bekzat, -115, -105. Now Topuria, -135. So it shows money has been coming in on Topuria. Yeah, again, like, the last name I think does something. But more importantly, if you think that Topuria is 30% and Bekzat's 25%, I prefer Topuria. I'll take the cheaper fighter who's the favorite at only 5% more ownership. If it's something like a 37%, 24%, then we're at a whole different ball game, and I'll take the ownership discount on Bekzat for a close fight that way. So I think what you do in this fight should be dedicated or predicated on how do you see the ownership. Is it going to be a big gap? Then I think you play Bekzat for clear leverage game theory purposes. If you think it's pretty close, you take the favorite for cheaper because it's not wide enough. So I'm on the boat that I think it does widen and gets too far. So Bekzat's my preferred play. But if it comes in like 30-25, I would want to be on the Topuria side that way. So that's how I see it. What you predict ownership comes down to your preferred side in this fight. All right, next fight on the card, Tagir Ulanbekov -200. Kara Herchagai, definitely butchered the name. He's making his return after 9 years, though. Say it for me so I can get it right.
Horiguchi.
Horiguchi. There we go. Horiguchi. He was in the UFC. 2016 was when he left, and then he has been fighting still ever since, making a return 9 years later for Horiguchi. 34-5. What a record that is. Is 35 years old, though. Had a great first stint with the UFC, only losing once. He is coming back, though, in a pretty tough matchup against Tagir Ulanbekov, who wants to get it to the mats. Plus 200 for this fight to finish. Ulanbekov plus 285 inside the distance. Horiguchi plus 600. I don't love this fight much. You have it you have it a 2-star. I thought I saw 4 for a sec. Looks like we're on the same page. You have more stars on the Horiguchi side. How does he score over 85 in this fight?
Knockout. He's pretty dangerous, but I have it as a 2-star because I don't really like this fight. I'm picking him to win just because I'm not really an Ulanbekov guy. I think he's well-rounded. He could take the fight anywhere he wants. But on DraftKings, he's really only good if he gets a first-round submission. I don't see him going out there and taking down Horiguchi like 8 times and putting up a big score in a decision, and he's just a low volume overall. Horiguchi kind of has a low volume issue too, but he's good everywhere. I was a big Horiguchi fan back in the day. I think he fought for the title against Demetrius. And like really, I thought they should have never let him go, but he's been fighting a ton since he left. So he's probably made a ton of money. So do your thing, I guess, Horiguchi. Good to see him back, but I'm not going to be investing too much in this fight. For me, with my hand builds, I'll be Xing out Ulanbekov. If I land on Horiguchi for my final spot, I'm cool with that. For MME, I'll probably just make sure Ulanbekov is projected below people around him so I don't end up with too much of them, but I'm fine mixing them in a little bit. And then I would be okay if SaberSim gave me a little bit more Horiguchi than I wanted, because he could get there. He can mix in takedowns too. Hard to see against a guy like Ulanbekov. But I mean, Ulanbekov's been taken down multiple times by multiple people. So I think he could get there. And even in a decision win, I would expect Horiguchi to score close to 10x, if not more. So Horiguchi or mainly pass for me.
All right, you talked me into more Horiguchi than I was already going to play. Wasn't going to play much of this fight. I think I picked Ulanbekov by decision, just worried about Horiguchi. I mean, Ulanbekov wants to fight on the mat. If he gets a takedown and controls the whole first round, even if he does 2 rounds, you know what I mean? Like it's tough then for Horiguchi to score in a decision if he is spending time off his back. But he is 7,600. He talked me into probably getting a little more of him, but not one of my favorite fights. One of my least favorite fights on the card, actually. Let's go to my least favorite fighter on the card, and it should come to no surprise. Rafael Cerqueira, plus 1,000 underdog to Abdul Yakhyaev, who's minus 2,000. I mean, we went from minus 600 opening to minus 2,000. I mean, what are we doing sanctioned in this fight? Oh, Cerqueira is 0-3 in the UFC, been finished in round 1 twice, and now he gets arguably his toughest test to date. Like, what are they trying to improve? To prove with this Abdul guy? Yeah, he's making his UFC debut. He's 7-0. He's young at 24. I mean, we're just gonna watch an ass kicking. So, I mean, what would you set the first minute bonus at? Because I think at 9,800, Arman Tsarukyan's 300 less, and he's if you think he dominates like I do, I mean, I'm almost penciling in 100 plus. So I almost need that bonus, is what I'm telling myself.
I actually looked it up. For this fight to end in the first 60 seconds on DraftKings, which almost all that equity is on Yakhyaev, is I believe it was plus 450, which is 18% range.
So that's going to be underweight.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's 18% just for the first minute. I mean, but he's got minus 750 inside the distance or something like that. You're almost locking in a first round win here, and either a 10-point knockdown or a 5-point takedown. So you're starting with that floor at 95 or 100, and then it's do we get the quick win bonus too? So I think he gets it, to be honest with you. I think he ends this guy in the first minute. So I want him. I want him in my lineups. If I'm struggling to get there, it's probably because Arman's already in my lineup. But if not, then I'm just easily down to Arman. Arman's my favorite play on the slate. But if it wasn't for if Yakhyaev was 9,600, I think that would be so much easier. 9,800, I hate 9,800 in general, but he's the type of guy, a setup fight where we want a clear highlight reel finish from you in the first round. We'll give you the easiest test you can get. I mean, I want him. He's going to put up a big score. It's just how many other big scores are there on the card, and is it enough?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to play a decent amount too. It's one where if I had 15% and I loved everything else, I'm good with it. If that's the case, I'm probably have 80% Arman Tsarukyan, and I'd be fine with that. If I had 60% of this guy, Yakhyaev, yeah, I mean, if I loved everything else and I had 60% of a minus 2,000 guy who's minus 800 inside the distance and minus 175 in round 1, yeah, I mean, I'm never going to say no to that as well. I'm probably somewhere in the 30% ballpark if I had to guess. But yeah, there's enough live dogs on this card, 14 fights. The more fights, the more likely dogs that come through. If we get 4 dogs winning on this card, Yakhyaev at 109 is a lot more likely to get there than only one underdog winning on this card. So you have to think about it that as well when you are spending $9,800. But yeah, first minute bonus, like even if we only got one underdog and he got a first minute bonus at 126, you might see a Nicholas Dalby 39-point loss being the winner just because what it gets you with Yakhyaev. So yeah, very interesting game theory spot. I'm glad DraftKings did price it up 9,800 to make it a little more difficult for us because 96 would have no doubt been too cheap. All right, let's keep it rolling. Another UFC debuter, Luke Riley, minus 250. Taking on Bogdan Grad at plus 210, minus 150 for this fight to finish. Riley plus 115 inside the distance. Grad plus 400. 26-year-old, 11-0 Luke Riley making his UFC debut from Cage Warriors. The striking looks good, no doubt about that. I do expect Grad to try and wrestle in this one. Yeah, I'm definitely playing Grad at 7,100 in a win. I think he has some of the most upside of any underdog. And I think if Riley can stuff takedowns and keep it on the feet, we're seeing one-way traffic with first-round upside. And he's definitely going to be lower owned than some others in the upper tier. So, yeah, I'm definitely playing both sides of this fight. What about you?
Yeah, it's a good one. I think Grad is going to start off with the more aggressive pace and the possible wrestling. And if he wins, period, I do expect a good score from him. 7,100. It could be a no Grad, no cash type of night if he gets it done. But Riley, his issue is that he's a slow starter. If he drops the first round, it's probably because Grad was wrestling or he was just coming on with the pace. And Riley's like he's like a Marlon Vera somewhere where like it takes him a little bit to get warmed up. But I expect Riley to have a big striking edge in the second and the third, really in every round. But in the second and the third round, once he starts picking up his volume and putting it together and starting to read Grad, I kind of think he just picks him apart. So I think he could get a second or a third round knockout. A decision at 9,100, I don't see him getting there because he's probably not wrestling. So we need the knockout for him. I'll probably look to max my exposure around his TKO or inside the distance line. I like other favorites more, but I'm definitely cool with Riley, and I think he's going to be a fun UFC fighter.
Rank Saigid 9,300, Aliev 9,200, Riley 9,100. Orolbai at 9K. Let's do all of them. Let's just go. 4-star, 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 4-star. Really putting you on the spot.
I actually think Riley might be my least favorite of the group there.
I would agree.
Because the others I picked to wrestle. Yeah. But, man, the others are all really close. I like Orolbai's pace more than Aliev, but I think the Aliev fight is just going to take place on the ground all the time, and the Orolbai fight could end up being more on the feet than I would like. So maybe I actually prefer Aliev there, where I think the field will prefer Orolbai. But I don't know. Maybe Izagakhmaev is the best of them all because he kind of has to wrestle, and if he wins, I would expect a big score.
Yeah, no, I think just that question alone and Big Marley's answer and the difficulty just shows how good of a card this is. You can – they're all very similar. All Orolbai, Aliev, and Saigid all can wrestle. They all can put up 115. They also, if they don't have success wrestling, you can see their opponents doing something and them not getting there. So I do agree. Riley probably my least favorite of the bunch. With that being said, I do think the field probably sees that. He's plus 115 inside the distance. He's plus 385 in round one. Maybe I cap it at the round one prop. 385, 20%. Let's see what we have his projection for quick. 17%. I mean, right there alone, his round one prop's better than his projected ownership. If that's the case, I always want to probably get at least with that round one prop. So not that it's guaranteed is optimal with the round one win, but if you were told your 17% owned fighter is getting a round one victory at 9,100, I mean, you're playing it. You're getting overweight. At least I am. So that's how I see it there. Let's keep it rolling. Good fight right here. Excited for the return of Alex Perez. He does find himself as a plus 165 dog, taking on Almabayev, minus 190. This fight's plus 115 to finish. Almabayev plus 250 inside the distance. Perez plus 300. Nasty torn ACL for Perez against Tyra a year and a half ago. He makes his return. I think this is a fun fight in real life. I think you can make a case on both sides. I'm picking the underdog in this one with Perez, and it looks like you have more stars on that side. So are you picking Perez as well?
Yeah, I just think Perez is the better, more well-rounded fighter. He's coming off bad injury. Who knows how he's going to look after that? But his biggest weakness, in my opinion, is his chin. And Almabayev is not somebody who's going out there knocking people out. Almabayev is a good wrestler, and he sets a good high pace with his wrestling. But Alex Perez is a really good wrestler himself, and I don't see Almabayev being able to land 7 takedowns on a Perez. And if this fight is taking place on the feet because they're both good wrestlers, I think Perez beats him there. So my opinion, value on the Perez side. I don't really trust him enough to where I haven't bet him yet. But he is on my list of possible bets as an underdog. And on DFS, I think my issue with him is that, like, for him to put up a big score, we kind of need him to get a knockout, because I don't know that we see the wrestling from him on the other side. He probably wants to keep this fight on the feet. And if it's a striking-based decision from Perez, where he probably is taken down a couple times throughout the fight and he's not scoring off of his back, I just don't think Perez puts up a good DFS score. So I like him more as a bet than I do as a DFS play, which maybe puts this as a 2-star for me overall as the fight, but more so Perez or pass for me.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with a lot of that. Perez, picking to win. He's my preferred play, 1,200 savings. I think his wrestling's good enough to keep this fight mainly on the feet, get up if he is taken down. And on the feet, I just think he's a better fighter. I think the line's a little disrespectful. Haven't seen a lot of line movement in this one, though. -129. Asu opened as the favorite, got all the way down to -202 just 2 days ago, and then a little buyback, or actually -210 yesterday, and then 20 cents buyback on the Perez side today. So as always, I'm always keeping a close eye on the line movement. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern, though, so the overnight Friday stuff, I'll be up early. I'll be making my lineups on Saturday morning, and if you do see if there's any big line movement changes, I will update in the Discord and let everyone know. Sorry if you can hear that very loud plane above my house. You can't hear it? Perfect. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next fight on the card. This was supposed to be Gaziev versus Spivac. Out is Spivac, in is Waldo on day's notice. And this is where the pricing is going to be weird. So Gaziev was a favorite over Spivac. He was -140, Spivac +120. It was 8,400, 7,800. Now, Waldo steps in on day's notice, finds himself as a favorite over Gaziev, -147, +127. He actually opened the dog at +105. What do we got? 30 minutes later, it got all the way down to -170, and then some buyback on the Gaziev side. I am expecting this to be 8,400 Gaziev, 8,300 Waldo. They do not like pricing fighters the same as like other people. There is no $8,300 price fighter. He is a -147 favorite. Everything would check the boxes. So I do not see any inside the distance prop. Let's see. Under 2.5 is -110. Open +130. So a little money is coming on the under. What that looks like, probably -135-ish for this fight to finish. What fight could what fight could have similar? What fight was also -110 to finish? I thought we just talked about one.
Izagakhmaev.
Oh, good call. The Dalby fight. So under 2.5 was +120 in this one. So no, it's going to be -135, -140 probably for this fight to finish. And that's important. So 8,400, 8,300 fighter, -147 favorite is Acosta as a 100 cheaper fighter. Let's say around -140 for this fight to finish. How do you rank it in the mid tier?
I really don't care for it too much. I think you're really relying on the finish for this fight to score well. Gaziev's going to have the wrestling grappling edge, but after round 1, I don't trust that to be the case. And I also don't think that Cortez Acosta is going to be easy to take down. And after round 1, I think it'll be harder to take him down. So we almost might be forced on the feet the second and the third rounds. And I think Cortez Acosta wins those 2 rounds. Maybe he drops the first. Striking can go either way in the first round, I think. Gaziev could be more dangerous, but Acosta should just be the better boxer in every round. And I think the longer this goes, the more he takes over. But in a decision, I just don't think he does enough. So it's closer to a 2-star than it is a 4-star for me. But if the inside the distance line starts getting juiced, then I would like it more. So it's really, what's the chance of this fight finishing? That's how much I like it.
Yeah, and even a round 3 finish, I'm not convinced it gets there. Maybe in the mid-tier it does.
True.
For me, though, I agree with what you say. If I'm going down mid-tier fights, which we consider 85-77, right outside the mid-tier, Freeman, Bujlo, by far a better fight. I prefer Naurdiev, Loder on both sides. I prefer Almakhan, Topuria on both sides. Wow, we do have 286-676, huh? I don't know why I just noticed that. And I prefer... Oh, those are the only mid-tier fights. Yeah, I mean, if I'm including this in the mid-tier fight, it's my 4th favorite. If I'm not including it, it's my 3rd favorite. So, yeah, 2 big heavyweights, neither wrestles. Right now, under 2.5, -110. If it gets to the 3rd round, though, I don't think it really scores. So, yeah, my least favorite fight in the mid-tier as well. 4 fights left. I think this is a fun fight right here, though. Menifield, Orolbai, -240. Jack Hermansson, +205. -105 for this fight to finish. Orolbai, +125 inside the distance. Hermansson, +650. A little money has come in on the under. Was +115 to finish on Tuesday. Now it's -105. Orolbai sets a high pace, and he wrestles. So I like Orolbai most times when he fights. I think that'll force Jack Hermansson into a pretty high-paced fight as well. He's very skilled. He's 7,200. I just really need to see how he looks on the scales. Man, 185. Now he's going down to 170. Orolbai has fought at 155. So, I mean, if he can make this weight successfully and not gas, I mean, I'm picking Hermansson if that's the case. The problem is Orolbai, when he wins, he does score, and a big difference in that inside the distance prop. So, while on the money line, I think it's Hermansson for me. DFS, obviously I'm going to play some Hermansson for that reason, but Orolbai has as much upside as anyone and is only 9K. So I like this fight a ton. I'll pick Hermansson, but I got to see him on the scales.
Yeah, I just agree with everything you said. I need to see how he looks because imagining him at 170 is just kind of hard to imagine, but he is good everywhere. If Orolbai wins this fight, I expect a big score. He's put up over 107 in all of his wins, and he's going to have to wrestle pretty heavily for him to dominate, or not dominate, but look like a -240 favorite. If Hermansson comes into this fight, weighing 200 pounds, the wrestling might be kind of hard for Orolbai. And I mean, Hermansson could land a couple of takedowns of his own, but he should have the striking edge, and he could finish Orolbai really by any method. He's a well-rounded fighter. 37 years old, dropping down to 170, typically not a good sign. So I am going to side with Orolbai as the pick and the preferred play. But if I'm building a lineup, I end up with 7,200 left. I'm glad to click on Hermansson.
Couldn't agree more. Agree with all that. When Orolbai scores, he scores. Definitely will be keeping a close eye at the scales, though. 3 fights left. Volkan Oezdemir, -225. Alonzo Menifield, +190. -180 for this fight to finish. Oezdemir, -110 inside the distance. Menifield, +400. What do we see here? So this fight was -170 to finish on Tuesday. Now it's -180. So little money has come in on the under. This was kind of the similar to Aliev fight where I don't love the fight, but I'm going to probably be around the field on both because there's a clear path on both. They both hit hard. Random stuff can happen. They're going to be low owned too. With that being said, like I prefer Hermansson. I prefer Grad. I prefer Rock. I like all of them more than Alonzo at the end of the day for cheap. And for Oezdemir, I like Orolbai more. I like Yakhyaev more. I like Naurdiev more. I like Saigid. I like Armin. I like Freeman. Like I just like a lot of other fights more. But they're 2 big guys. If they find the chin, they can go down. But yeah, 2 primary strikers, slow pace fight. Not my favorite, even though it is -180 to finish.
Yeah, definitely not my favorite either. I think we're really relying on all the we're relying on a knockout. So all the finishing bonus is what we need in this one because I just think it's going to be a slow-paced striking match where neither guy is really looking to land takedowns. Maybe they fall into 1 or 2. But this should be a striking match for as long as it takes place. And I kind of think it's going to take place for 3 rounds. And neither one of these guys is going to put up a big score if that's the case. Oezdemir does have a pick 'em inside the distance line, though. So, I mean, that's pretty good. I don't like clicking on him like almost ever, though. So I'm going to end up being underweight no matter what happens. But that makes me want to fade him less, I guess I would say. That's really why I have this as a 3-star rather than a 2-star, because these guys both have big-time power. It only takes one shot. And if that one shot is in the first round, they're on the optimal lineup. So you can't really fade this fight, but it's one I plan on being more underweight on than over.
Seems like you and I are lockstep. Like our gut and everything's saying fade, but they're 2 big guys that can throw bombs. And if one connects, I mean, we'd look like a fool to be saying anything else. But Volkan's my preferred side in this fight just because, man, Alonso's just looks so gross to me. And seeing the -110 inside the distance, like I think that round 1, let's see, him in round 1 is plus 275. That's a great number. Plus 275 is 26% chance. Our projected ownership is under 26%, like I expected. He is a pivot in the upper tier. So just another example like Riley. When you're trying to make low-owned clicks or low-ish owned clicks, pivots in the upper tier, an easy way to talk yourself into it is the round 1 props better than their ownership or higher than their ownership's projecting. Just like that, you can play them for sure. 2 fights left before we do. First, want to shout out our friends at Splash Sports. Hooked us up over here with another promo, Ship It. If you deposit over at Splash Sports, they'll match your deposit up to $50. And you also get a 100% payout boost on your first quick picks entry. NBA, NFL, any of those, you can use our projections. But yeah, that people giving away $50 for free and matching 100% payout boost on your first quick picks entry is impossible to beat nowadays. Definitely take advantage of a plus EV situation using the code SHIP19 or Ship It. Excuse me, using the code Ship It. And then I was going to say, if you want to join Ship It Nation, use the code SHIP19. 5 days for $19. We would love to have you. Plenty of sports going on right now. 2 fights left. Big fight for the welterweight division. I don't know about for DFS. Ian Garry -255. Bilal Muhammad +215. +250 for this fight to finish. Garry +310 inside the distance. Bilal +750. I'm in total agreement with you. I might even put that 3-star to a 2-star. I just couldn't imagine clicking Ian Garry's name. Great real-life fighter. Just doesn't get the job done for DFS. -270 or -325 for this fight to go the distance. Open -275. Garry the striker. I think you need a lot to go right. Give me Volkan. Give me Riley. Give me the guys we didn't even love in the upper tier. Bilal, if he wins, it's through wrestling. He's 7,400. So I'll play some that way. But man, Garry's tough. Like the dude is very skilled and well-rounded. So I think he wins a decision. I think the fight busts. Bilal is my preferred play, though. How do you see it?
Yeah, Garry should have a big striking edge, and he's probably a good enough wrestler to be able to keep the fight on the feet. So I'm definitely fine with him being the favorite. But if he wins, for DFS, it kind of has to be a knockout because 8,800 is a big price to pay for someone who's probably not going to wrestle against a guy like Muhammad, and he doesn't strike at a high enough pace. His average in 3-round decision wins is like 74 points. If he gets 74 at 8,800, you're not going to win. So I'm going to fade him. I'm just going to X him out. If he gets the knockout, if it's in the first round, then maybe I'm done. But if it's in the second round, I feel like I can survive that. So I'm going to take my chances there. I do definitely want some Muhammad, though, because he has to wrestle. I mean, I don't know if he will chain wrestle enough to guarantee him dictating this fight taking place on the ground, but I don't think he's a good enough striker to have a chance on the feet. So he needs to wrestle. He can wrestle. He can wrestle at a high pace for 3 rounds. He only has 3 rounds, so he doesn't have to conserve any energy in this fight. And I think he could get 8 to 10 takedowns in this fight and score 110 plus in a decision. I don't feel good about him winning, but I feel good about him scoring well in a win. So I will be heavy on Muhammad at 7,400.
You and I see it the exact same way. If he wins, he should score. Probably doesn't win, but yeah, he's 7,400. Definitely a dog to keep in the portfolio, I will have no Ian Garry more than likely, especially if I'm only building a handful of teams. Last fight of the night, main events. Big favorite in the main event, Arman Tsarukyan, minus 550. Dan Hooker, plus 400. Minus 210 for this fight to finish. Tsarukyan, minus 170 inside the distance. Hooker, plus 700. I mean, Dan Hooker is going to be over-owned just because of his name for it being a 25-minute fight and his price. I will probably X out Dan Hooker. I prefer all these other dogs that we've talked about. Tsarukyan, my favorite play on the slate. But the ability, or if I'm fading Dan Hooker, that means I can use some of those lineups that I would have otherwise played them and fade this fight. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. If Yakhyaev scores 126 and gets the bonus, and Tsarukyan scores 108, there's other guys we talked about in the upper tier that can outscore 108. So for that reason, a Tsarukyan submission in a minute and 8 seconds in, 94. We've seen crazy stuff in MMA. So I think he scores over 100. He's my favorite fighter. He'll be my highest owned. But because I'm playing no Dan Hooker, I'm not going to force this fight. If I had 100% Arman, I'd probably go with it. But I'm expecting to have some fight phase and be overweight to that as well. Arman or nobody in this fight. If Dan Hooker's on the winner, it'll be bad. News Bears over here. Take it away.
Yeah, I agree. I had this as a 4-star Arman, 2-star Hooker. But then I was like, you know what? I'm just going all in on Arman on this one. I've been calling him to be a champion for a long time now, and I just don't think Hooker's going to be the guy that stops him. If Hooker does win this fight, I think it's probably a head kick knockout, ends my night. But I'm just going to X him out. I'm not going to have 150 most likely. So for me, it's more so 10 to 20 lineup range, and I just don't think it's that crazy fading somebody completely with 10 to 20 lineups. So for me, it's just easy fade on Hooker, and I probably do go all in on Arman. If I don't, it's because I got enough money to go up to Yakhyaev. I just don't think I fade Arman to go to somebody below him unless it's a lineup where I just couldn't get a $9,500 fighter in my lineup. But that, like, I had something like that on the last card where I didn't have anybody in the upper range. Like, I couldn't even get up to Islam or something with that lineup. And this card, it's not an issue. There's so many good underdogs on this card. So I think I can afford Arman, no problem. And in a fight where he's not the clear better striker, he could be the better striker, and he could knock out Dan Hooker. But when he's not the clear better striker and his danger is on the feet, I think he should be wrestling a little bit more than normal. He could get 5 to 10 takedowns in this fight. So I expect a big score from Arman. I think he has the highest ceiling on the card, and that includes Yakhyaev getting a quick win bonus.
I agree with, almost all of that. Now, I won't, like, when I'm not playing Arman, I'm fine if I have a team, my spends are Orolbai, Saigid, and Denzel Freeman. You know what I mean? And I just don't have the money to upgrade from Saigid to Tsarukyan. Like, it left $0. I'm good playing lineups like that. I think the upper tier is strong enough with multiple spots that I can get away with that. Now, I don't love playing Saigid over Arman and having the 200 to upgrade. Now, in the largest field stuff, $3, like, I'm not going to say it's bad. But, when I'm not playing Arman or Yakhyaev and I'm fading both of them, I probably more than likely will not have the money to upgrade and maybe just get a little different that way. That's all I got, though, Big Marley. 14 fights. Fingers crossed we keep all 14. Been on quite the roll with fighters making weight, or at least missing small enough / UFC making it work where we keep all the fights. But, if we do, I think we're in for a treat. 10 a.m. Eastern. Early violence on Saturdays. Can't beat that.
Yes, sir. 10 a.m. Hopefully we wake up, have a good sweat, and then you can go out and do whatever you want that night. And then we got football on Sunday. So can't wait, man. Good luck to you, Title. Good luck to everybody listening. Let's ship it.
Let's ship it. Again, ship 19 if you want to join us at the Nation. 5 days for $19. And if you do want to take advantage, $50 deposit match and 100% payout boost on your first Quick Picks entry. Head over to Splash Sports. Use that promo code SHIPIT. All content will be up tomorrow. We will tag everybody in the Discord when it is done. Appreciate all y'all hanging out live or on playback. Again, like button is all we ask for. That's going to do it for my man Big Marley. I'm Tidal. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Peace.